Good afternoon, class. Before we officially begin, let's fix our seating arrangement first. So please arrange yourselves alphabetically, starting from here at the front to the back, and then from left to right. Okay? Alright, thank you so much. Now that everyone is in order, let's check your attendance first. So as I call your name, please stay present so I can get familiar with your faces as well. Paliao, Godovisa, Gutierrez, Javier, Mandigma, Nugit. Where is Miss Nugit? Nag-attend ba siya kanina sa mga discuss niyo? Okay, Miss Nugit. Miss Dinamisan and Mr. Rose. Alright, now before anything else, let me introduce myself first. I am Ms. Arian Joy O'Pinilia and I will be your professor here in the subject AE 15 Intermediate Accounting 1. So, I am certified internal audit specialist and I am currently working as an audit associate in Akyatan and Public CPA, an external auditing firm based here at Lucena City. And teaching is also what I do as a part-time. So I am also a proud graduate of this institution, and I also took up Bachelor of Science in Accountancy at UTEX. So dito rin ako natuto, dito rin ako napuyat at pinabahan sa mga participations, quizzes, and exams. So all I want is to make this class meaningful and engaging, no pressure, kasi alam ko, really pressure na sa accountancy student. So let's enjoy the process, and I am truly excited to learn with you guys. Before we begin, let me share a few reminders, okay, before anything else, just to make sure that we are all on the same page. The modules that I will be uploading in the video LMS prior to our class, along with your textbooks, are meant for advanced reading, so that you would have a foundation and background before we tackle the specific topics in depth here in our class. Avoiding submissions of assignments and activities, deadlines are given to you to manage your time better. And of course, again, most importantly, just be interactive and engaging. I want this classroom to be a space where you are not afraid to ask, to learn, and to answer. Alright, now kindly take out all of the copy of your module I gave last Friday. If you don't have any printed copies, you can take out any of your devices as long as you have the downloaded copy of it. So today, we'll be diving into the topic agriculture or biological asset under Intermediate Accounting 1. Starting off with the objectives. So by the end of this discussion, we aim to define key concepts related to biological assets, explain the recognition criteria as well as the initial and subsequent measurement of biological assets, identify the proper presentations and disclosures in the notes on the financial statement, prepare appropriate journal entries applicable to agricultural activities, and of course, to demonstrate ethical awareness and appreciation of the significance of AS 41 in promoting transparency and accountability in industries that involve agricultural activities. So by the end of the discussion, I will be touching one specific industry here in the Philippines that is applying agriculture. So you can have an idea paano nga ba ina-apply ang agriculture sa tunay na financial statement. So to start off, ano nga ba yung applicable accounting standard that governs agriculture? Anyone? Yes, Ms. Paliao? Exactly. Thank you so much. So the applicable accounting standard for agriculture is Philippine Accounting Standard 41 or PAS 41 entitled, again, agriculture, but most of the textbooks and videos online that you will encounter, it will be called biological asset. Why is that so? From the word itself, biological, bio means living, and this refers to living animals and living plants. So this standard primarily focuses on living animals and living plants as long as they are related to agricultural activities. Now let's define what is agriculture. If I would ask you in your own words, what is agriculture in accounting? Mr. Godovisa. Alright, that's a good point. Thank you so much. So according to Mr. Godovisa, agriculture and accounting is about recognizing maximizing the value of living beings like plants and animals, which is a good point. And according to PS 41, agriculture is the management of biological assets and harvest of biological assets either for sale or for further production. So meaning, pag-uusapan natin dito yung buong proseso from pagpapalago or pagpapalaki hanggang sa pagkain ng ating mga living animals and living plants, either for sale or for further production. Now, moving forward to the scope and definition of terms, in this discussion, I will be discussing the scope along with the important definition of terms that you would encounter here in this topic. So, PAS 41 applies to three main areas when they relate to agricultural activities. So, what is it? First, biological assets except their plants. Second, agricultural produce at the point of harvest. And lastly, unconditional government grants related to biological assets. So, para maintindihan natin ito lalo, isa-isahin natin. So, for the first one, biological asset except for their plants. So, ano ang biological asset? As I said a while ago, this refers to living animals and living plants. And these assets go through biological transformation. What does it mean? Meaning, it grow, it change, and it reproduce over time. Just like us humans, okay? So we can relate this to our own lives. We also grow, we also change, and we also reproduce over time. Now, bakit sinabi na except for bare plants? That is because bare plants is governed by other Philippine accounting standard. And what is it? It is under PES 16, which is property, plant, and equipment. So, accepted ang bare plants sa PES 41 kasi hindi sila binibenta or hinaharvest mismo. Instead, ginagamit sila pangmatagalan para mag-produce ng agricultural goods like fruits or rubber trees. Okay? So, dahil long-term assets sila, may bagay silang, or mas bagay silang i-account sa property, plant, and equipment. That is why they are under PES 16. Now, for better understanding ng biological asset, let us discuss biological asset ng masinsinan. Starting off with its classification. So, under PES 41, biological assets are classified based on how they are used. And we have two main categories. For the first one, as the consumption. And under this, we have consumable biological asset and bare biological asset. So, what is consumable biological asset? So, ito yung mga biological asset that are meant to be harvested or sold as they are. Meaning, ito yung mga nire-raise natin or inaalagaan para ibenta or i-harvest mismo. So, sila mismo yung output or yung end product. So, they are not kept for continuous production. Instead, they will be eventually or immediately consumed or sold. On the other hand, bare biological asset are those that are kept for continuous produce of agricultural goods over multiple periods. So, ito naman ginagamit to produce agricultural products multiple times. Meaning, the asset itself is not sold or harvested, only its produce is harvested or consumed. So, para mas lalo maintindihan, we have here an example. Say, for example, a poultry farm raises a chicken. For the purpose na what? So, nag-raise ang isang poultry farm ng chicken para ibenta as a chicken meat sa market. Then, this is what we call consumable biological asset. Bakit? Yung biological asset or yung chicken mismo, yung ating binibenta as agricultural produce. So, hindi siya ginagamit for long-term production. On the other hand, if a poultry farm raises a chicken for the purpose na gamitin siya or gamitin siyang for multiple periods para maitlogin and to produce agricultural products such as eggs, then this is classified as bare biological asset. So, dito, hindi binibenta yung chicken mismo, hindi binibenta yung agricultural asset mismo. Instead, yung agricultural produce lang niya, which is yung itlog, ang binibenta sa market. Now, moving forward to the second classification. So, PES 41 biological asset is also classified as to maturity. Ibig sabihin, handa na ba sila i-harvest or handa na ba sila for further production? And under this, we also have two mature biological assets and immature biological assets. So guys, this is self-explanatory. When we say mature biological assets, ito yung mga what? Ito yung mga mga ready na for harvest, kung consumable, at kaya nang mag-produce regularly kung sila ay bare biological asset. So once they already have reached the point na pwede na silang ma-harvest if consumable, and pwede na silang i-sustain regularly for production if bare, then this is what we call mature biological asset. On the other hand, of course, immature biological asset are those na hindi pa na-attain yung specific point where they can be harvested or able to produce regularly. So, this is an example. Let's say that a farm has a chicken and a chick. So, a full-grown chicken, kapag umabot na ito sa tamang timbang or laki, halimbawa 6 weeks, ready na siya i-harvest or katayin at ibenta bilang meat, chicken meat, in the market. So that makes it as a immature biological asset. And also, kapag ang isang manok regularly na lang mag-produce ng itlog, let's say 18 to 20 weeks old, it becomes mature biological asset. Why? Dahil kaya na niyang mag-sustain ng production, kaya na niyang mangitlog for multiple periods. On the other hand, of course, ang sisiw, kaya naman natin siyang katayin and ibenta as chicken meat sa palengke? Of course not. And hindi niya kayang mangitlog or hindi niya kayang mag-produce ng agricultural products over time. Kailangan pa niya ma-meet yung specific point where they can be harvested regularly. Okay, so this is what we call immature biological asset. Now, moving forward to the second area, agricultural produce at the point of harvest. So let's define what is agricultural produce first. So this refers to the harvested output obtained directly from biological asset. Ibig sabihin, ito yung mga produkto na nakukuha natin mula sa mga halaman o hayop in their natural state. So what is the meaning of natural state? Hindi pa siya na-process. So ito yung mga halimbawa, a freshly picked na mga prutas from the tree and a fresh milk that we get from a cow. So hindi pa siya na-process. So this is what we call agricultural produce. And point of harvest, ano naman po yung point of harvest? So point of harvest refers to the exact moment when agricultural produce is separated from the biological asset. So ito yung eksaktong moment kung kailan yung produce ay hinihiwalay natin sa biological asset. The moment na what? The moment na pinitas natin yung prutas sa puno or the moment na kinatay natin yung mga baboy or manok para maging meat at ibenta sa market. That is what we call point of harvest. And guys, we have to take note na at the point of harvest, agricultural produce is still in its natural state and remains under PAS 41. So, halimbawa, the moment na pumitas tayo ng grapes, natural state pa yun, so under pa siya ng PAS 41 agriculture. But the moment na pinrases natin ng grapes into a wine, ito yung moment na what? Saan na siya i-recognize? Under na siya ng PAS 2 inventories kasi na-process na siya. So, processed agricultural produce are treated as inventories already. And now, this is just some examples para mas lalo yung maintindihan at ma-distinguish alin na yung mga biological asset under PAS 41, alin yung mga bare plants na under PAS 16 or PKE, alin yung mga agricultural produce at the point of harvest na under pa din PAS 41, and ano naman yung mga products na na-process na, napupunta na sa PAS 2 inventory. So, this is already included sa inyong module, which is yung mga hawak mo ngayon. So, just basahin at aralin mabuti kung ano yung mga pinagkaiba-iba. Okay? Now, for the last area, unconditional government grant related to biological assets. So, ano ba yung government grant? Diba, ito yung mga financial assistance provided by the government to support businesses, including yung mga agricultural sector. And an unconditional government grant, ito yung mga financial assistance provided to an entity without any specific condition. So when we say the grant is unconditional, ibig sabihin walang kailangang i-fulfill na kondisyon ang recipient para matanggap or mapanatili yung pera or yung grant na binigay ng government. So walang hihinging kapalit, ibinibigay lang ng government bilang support lang sa business. Let's say for example, the government gave 1 million to a farming cooperative to support operation or farming without requiring them or the farmers to meet a specific condition. Walang sinabi ang gobyerno na kailangan nilang paramihin yung mga baboy or di kaya mag-reach na specific numbers of output. Just pure financial support lang sa business. In this case, the grant is recognized as unconditional government grant which is under PES 41. Now, bumalik tayo guys sa manok. Okay? So, let's say, itong manok ay ginagamit ng farm to produce eggs in multiple periods. Saan siya sako? Is it still part of PES 41 agriculture or is it part of other Philippine Accounting Standard? Yes, Ms. Matiga. Alright, yes. It is still part of PES 41 agriculture. But what about the farm raises the chicken to the purpose of producing eggs and ibebenta siya sa merkado or sa market? So, is it still part of PES 41? Mr. Luz? Yes? But unfortunately, the moment na ang ating agricultural produce ay nasa market na guys, it is a part of PES2 inventory. So medyo nakakalito guys, no? So ito yung tinatawag na after point of harvest, wherein na-transfer na natin yung ating agricultural produce sa market. So ibig sabihin, under na siya ng inventories and hindi na siya under na PES 41. Thank you so much, Mr. Luz. Now, what if the chicken or the poultry farm raises a chicken for the purpose na katayin ito at gawing fried chicken? Ginawa nilang fried chicken. Pronounces nila ilang fried chicken. Is it still part of agriculture? Who says yes? Who says no? Alright. So, this is already part of PES2. Why? Kasi, nag-undergo na siya ng process. Wala na siya sa kanyang natural state. Ginawa na siyang fried chicken. That is why it is under PES2 already. But what if yung chicken mismo ay kinatay at binanta sa market? So, anong classification ng chicken? Then it is still part of agriculture the moment na kinatay natin yung ano. But what if, for discussion purposes, ginamit yung chicken sa zoo for what? For recreational activity. Then this is part guys ng PES 16 PPE. Bakit po? Living animal din naman siya. Bakit? Kasi ginamit siya sa operation for recreational activity and not for agricultural activity. That is why siya ay, or ang PES or Philippine Accounting Standard na nag-govern sa kanya ay PES 16 Property Plant and Equipment Plant. Moving forward sa ating recognition, okay, so the entity or an entity shall recognize biological asset and agricultural produce only when first, entity controls the asset as a result of past event. Ibig sabihin nito, hawak o pagmamayari ng entity yung asset, like pagbili, pagbebenta, or pag-aalaga, or paglipat ng ownership. The second one is probable that future economic benefit will flow to the entity. Ibig sabihin nito, nag-expect yung entity na may kikitain sila from this biological asset. From what? Income sa harvest or sa pagbebenta ng produkto. And lastly, is fair value or the cost of the asset can be measured reliably. Ibig sabihin guys, dapat kayang i-compute ang halaga or cost nito ating mga biological asset either through market price or actual cost ng pagbili or pag-produce ng product. Okay, so moving forward sa measurement. Now that we know what biological assets are, let's talk about paano nga ba siya i-measure. So according to PES 41, we should measure biological asset initially and subsequently through FVLCPS. So what does this stand for? So this is what we call fair value less cost to sell. Okay, so hindi siya mahirap na natin kasi magkaparehas lang yung ating measurement ng initial and subsequent. The only difference is that meron pa tayong dalawang choice sa initial, which is the cost of carrying amount in case na hindi natin mahanap kung ano nga ba yung fair value. Now, to discuss the formula of fair value less cost to sell. So, let's start off with the estimated selling price. Ano yan? Yan yung what? Amount na pwede mong makuha if ever na ibenta natin siya in a regular or orderly transaction. Then, like shipping fee. Pag nabili tayo sa Lazada, Shopee. So this refers to the delivery fee, the halimbawa renta sa mga truck, and yung pampagasolina ng pagta-transfer ng biological assets sa marketplace. Okay? Then we should also lastly, cost to sell. So what is so we have here 3 categories. So we have commission. What is commission? Ito yung mga binabayaran natin in case na may tumulong sa ating agent sa pagbebenta. And we also have transfer taxes and levies. So ito yung mga taxes, regulatory taxes, and yung mga fines na binabayaran natin. And other selling costs. So this is the formula of fair value less cost to sell, estimated selling price, less transportation cost, and then less cost to sell. Ano yung cost to sell? Commission, transfer, taxes, levies, and other selling costs. So guys, hindi siya mahirap tandaan. Bakit? Nandito na mismo sa formula. Fair value less cost to sell. Okay? So, balikan naman natin, ano nga ba yung cost and yung carrying amount. So when we say cost, ginagamit natin to pag what? Pag hindi natin ma-measure reliably yung fair value less cost to sell. And that is just the moment when we will apply cost model. So, if walang reliable fair value, sobrang hirap mag-estimate or walang active market, dito papasok yung cost model. So, ano yung cost? Or ano yung meaning ng cost? Ito yung actual amount na ginastos ng entity to acquire or produce the biological asset. And of course, carrying amount. We all know this, guys. So, ito yung amount ng asset sa ating mga libro. Or kung magkano man yung present value niya ngayon. Okay. Now, for the presentation, so biological assets are normally classified as non-current asset. Why? Bakit sila naging non-current asset, guys? Because biological assets are usually long-term in nature. They are managed for growth, reproduction, or agricultural production over multiple periods. So since they are not intended for immediate sale, and ginagamit sila to reproduce agricultural products over time or over multiple periods, and meron silang extended life cycle, we usually classify them as non-current assets sa financial statements. Now, agricultural produce after the point of harvest normally presented as inventories under current asset unless other standards apply. So, after the produce is harvested, like mga itlog, prutas, or gatas, hindi na siya biological asset. It is now classified as PAS2 inventories. And ang PAS2 ay under what? Non-current or current? PAS2 is under current asset. So, that is why produce is, or it is under current asset kasi the produce is now ready for sale or processing and ina-expect natin sila na mabenta within 12 months or mako-consume sila within the normal operating cycle, which is 1 year. So this is just the disclosures, guys, general disclosures. Ito yung mga dapat nyo makita sa notes in the financial statement, okay? So we have here gain or losses, biological asset groups, activity and quantities, title restriction, development, commitments, risk management, and asset reconciliation. So this is just for you to read, guys. Nasa module ito. So hindi na natin kailangan itong i-memorize. Para mas need nyo lang siyang i-familiarize ano nga ba yung mga disclosure na kailangan natin makita pag nag-review tayo ng mga notes in the financial statement. So, moving forward sa ating journal entries, let's start off with the acquisition. So, acquisition, ito yung initial measurement. So, kapag bumili or nag-acquire tayo ng biological asset, i-record natin siya sa fair value less cost to sell. And then, i-credit natin yung cash if nag-buy tayo ng cash and accounts payable if ito ay utang. Then, if ever na may difference sa fair value less cost to sell at sa actual payment na binayaran nyo, magre-recognize tayo ng gain or losses and initial recognition. So we will debit loss and initial recognition and we will credit gain on initial recognition if ever na may difference doon sa fair value less cost to sell and doon sa actual na binayaran natin. Now, the journal entries for subsequent measurement, we have gains or losses on changes in fair value. So in the end of the accounting period, kapag tumaas yung value ng ating biological asset, we record it as gain on physical change or price change. And so credit gain on physical change or price change, then we will debit biological asset. Now, if ever naman na bumaba ang fair value at the end of the reporting cycle, then we will record a loss. So we will debit loss on fair value or price change, and we will credit biological asset. So, do you have any questions, guys, before we proceed? Clarifications? Anyone? Wala? Okay. So, let's move forward. As I said a while ago, meron ko ipapakita sa inyo a specific industry here in the Philippines that is applying agriculture in their financial statement, and that is Universal Robina Corporation, or URC. Are you guys familiar with it? So, about URC, Universal Robina Corporation is one of the largest branded consumer food and beverage product companies in the Philippines, founded in 1954 by Mr. John Tocongwei Jr. And URC has pioneered brands of exceptional quality for over 65 years. So, siya yung founder ng URC. Siya si Mr. John Tocongwei Jr. along with their board of directors, and ito guys yung brand architecture nila. I'm sure you guys are familiar with this, foods and beverages, di ba? From the cup noodles, candies, biscuits, mga chichirya, mga kape, you name it, nasa kanila yun at sila yung produce nun. And aside from it, meron din silang agro-industrial and commodities or AIC. So they also produce sugar and renewables. They also have flour, yung mga pork or meats na binabenta nila as well as agro-industrial group that is related to agricultural activities. Now, this is the financial statement of URC. As you can see under current asset, we have biological asset amounted 111 billion under 2023 and 205 million under 2022. And we also have non-current asset, biological asset, amounted 160 million 2023 and 205 million for the year 2022. This is just their liabilities and equity, and this is their consolidated statement of income. As you can see, ito yung net income nila for the year 2023, 12 trillion. For the year 2022, they have 14 trillion, and for the year 2021, they have 24 billion. So, bumaba, no? So, this is just their financial highlights. The blue one represents 2022 and the red one represents 2023. As you can see, lahat tumaas from net sales, gross profit, operating income. Bumaba lang sila ay sa ating net income. So, bumaba yung kanilang net income from 14 billion to 12 billion. But the rest, lahat yan ay tumaas. And ito guys, yung notes in the financial statement. So, under the note 2, summary of material accounting policies, it is indicated here that biological asset and agricultural produce are measured at fair value less estimated cost to sell, which we discussed a while ago, right? And ito yung pag-compute ng biological asset. So we have here the current version and the non-current version. Tapos, ito yung nag-consist, bumubuo sa biological asset. So they have swine, livestock, and poultry livestock. So swine, ito yung mga baboy, and yung poultry is yung mga manok. So, yung commercial, ito yung mga part ng current asset, while yung mga breeder, part siya ng current asset. And ito lang yung roll forward analysis of the account. So, they have the beginning balance of the year, the additions, yung mga binili nila, at mga na-reproduce nila within the year, and as long as with the disposals, and the gain arising from changes at fair value as estimated cost to sell. And they arrive with the balance of the year. Isang amount lang yan, guys. So that represents their biological asset. Alright, that's all for our discussion, guys. Again, do you have any questions or clarifications? Wala na ba? Wala na magtatanong? Okay. So now let's have a quiz. Keep all your notes. So So this quiz is, ano lang siya, theories and problem solving. Alright guys, get one and pass. So for the problem solving, please refer here and makisulat na lang ng inyong computation at the back. May space nila sa likuran ng theories. Okay, so you have 30 minutes to finish that. Alright guys, time is up. Please pass your papers alphabetically. Okay, so we'll be discussing your answers or the answers for this quiz sa ating next meeting. As well as kung paano nakuha yung problem solving, okay? So I'll also be uploading an assignment sa ating Neo LMS, so please check. So this is also theories and problem solving, and this will be submitted on our next meeting by Monday. So guys, if you don't have any other concerns, enjoy the rest of the week and thank you so much. That's dismissed.